This is something which some people may ask, is it necessary, past life regression? Well, many people think that past life regression means, you just go to your past birth and see who you are. It's not that. Past life regression is actually a therapy. It's a way of going backwards in your emotional flow or your charge and backtrack to find out until where it first came into your space. Okay? This is past life regression. You can regress going back. And what happens when you go back? You start finding the source of where it came from. So a lot of times, these are triggered by events. Certain thing happens and that energy or that emotion was created. And if it's not addressed for a long time, it can grow and grow and grow until it becomes very big. So what we do is we take these emotions, identify and backtrack, go back, go back. Sometimes within this life, you can also find out where's the root cause. But sometimes we need to go past this life to the previous life to find out where it came from. So these emotions are real. They can be measured. Can be, there's ways of measuring these emotions to capture the vibrations of these emotions. Usually unpleasant. So from the unpleasant emotions, we backtrack. We locate the type of emotion it is and to shine light on it until they see it themselves. This is not the regressionist will not be prompting. And what happened is the client would be going into the files in the mind and pull out that file of emotions. So that when that file of emotion is pulled out, you can backtrack it. You can track until sometimes, if it's strong enough, you can go past birth and you locate where it came from. And usually, if those who went past birth, they would, they couldn't imagine that this story is possible a lot of times. Most of the times, actually, because it's totally a different role, different gender, different culture, and you would be in a story like that, and you'll be seeing it yourself. So we being not just trying to come over to past birth, but we are serious in our effort to remove and find the source of these emotions and to remove it once and for all. So we shine light on it. So we go in with the light. We go in with, as for me, I do it with Swami. I don't do it with any, I don't have any interest. But because Swami is there and he guided me to do this, I put more keenness and interest in it because I feel Swami, Swami is always loving. And when he shows you something, it's out of a lot of love only you would do it. So I see that this past life, it's a very incredible phenomena, because we are able to find out exactly what happened to ourselves, why in our life is like this, why we have parents like this, or siblings like this, or friends like this. All you can see, actually. But of course, not all at once. It's just gradually you can start seeing more and more that these are all part of a huge dynamic play. Yes, this entire evolution of mankind is a huge dramatic divine play. It's so incredible because it goes into very deep details. You can break it down and break it down and break it down further. So it's really incredible now with the light shining through. A lot of things, a lot of people are able to regress even themselves because it's getting illuminated, right? So your thoughts are illuminated, your subconscious thoughts are illuminated. So when the subconscious thoughts comes, it comes in quite an integrated form. They are linked together. Everything that happens in our life now is linked together in the past. So it's a progression that's happening now. Yeah, it's a progression of energies and emotions and thought forms and you know. So these are moving now. These are moving in a quite an incredible way. So we just need to uh, acknowledge, identify, and to write it. You just have to find it, identify it, and write it. You can't write it unless you know what it is, right? Because this is part of consciousness. You can't be unconscious and writing it. I mean, you can, to a certain point, you get kicked out. So it's better to know what it is and write it so you won't lose it. Yeah? Chances of losing it is very high if we don't know what it is. This energy that's rising is a huge, huge transformative energy. It's an energy which flips and stumbles sometimes upwards. It is a very fast flowing Ganges. So this energy is quite incredible. And of course, there's also another side which is also happening. And both sides is happening. One is 3D, one is 5D. Yeah. How are we talking about this? Okay, now, so we are looking, I approach this past life regression victim, not victim, client, who tends to find themselves victimized somehow. They will go into the regression states with light, okay? And light plus light of the ascension of the great solar flash, light is coming down, and this side also light is coming in to show what is being flashed in front of you. So a lot of times these flashes comes with emotions, and we're able to identify the emotions and backtrack until we find out the root cause. So once you found out the root cause, something incredible happens. It's like a spark of realization. Once we found the root, it's like all of a sudden, you yourself realize the entire story. So it's a spark of realization. they became understood. They understood everything completely. And this kind of understanding is very deep and is very elevating. It also helps heal and transcend the entire episode. So this past life regression is a very powerful therapy, actually. There are people who got healed from incurable diseases from past life regressions. Because once they found out the root cause, they let go that experience or struggle of maintaining one side, and you let go the entire process. So a lot of what do you call it? Junk is released. There's a lot of this, we just keep it inside, we don't know, and it's subconsciously affecting us. And it's influencing the outcome of the future. So to identify this now and to, so of course there are people who don't need it. There are many who don't need it because there's no constant negative emotions erupting. But if there is, and you regress, it's very effective. You can change your course of life. Yeah, it's a very powerful therapy. And guess what? This therapy have been around for a long time. And how come it's not so well known and not so popular? Because only God can decide who can take this therapy. So still at the end of the day, it's still in God's hand. Yeah? And He is the one who arranges for the therapies, because I know, from the flow of things, I know that, some of these therapies are not, actually all of these therapies are not planned by me. It's planned by a large, higher energy, and the outcome and results are very obvious. That, you can't be creating this kind of a change in a person unless God willed it. So this deepened my faith on light, the power of light, and the power of forgiveness, actually. Forgiveness is the key. When they realize what it is, we forgive. It's true forgiveness, we feel it inside. We have finally understood, and we are willing to let go. Those moments are it's very divine, and it's only possible because of divinity. Yeah, otherwise it's not possible. It's too divine, to rise up with light like that. So past life regression does that. It brings people to light at the end, and when they previous birth, the deathbed, how they die, what kind of will or what kind of frustration they have, at that point in time, if it's all verbalized and manifested, you no longer need to carry forward to your next birth. This is what happens when we take a person on one of these trips. And they would actually release a lot of stuff which they don't want to bring to the next life, and consciously come into this space and come together with light back to the body. So this is one regression. This Mayan calendar is like that. Previous birth was on 24th of July. 25th is a day out of time. 26th is the new birth, first day. So that's why we have this, out of time where you can release whatever you don't want to, so that you don't carry forward to the next birth. This is exactly what we did. We released what we didn't want to carry anymore, our stories, our dramas that we don't want to repeat, and bring it forward to the next birth. And this is the next birth now. Right now, we're on the 4th day. And this birth is really incredible because it comes with consciousness. That means by the end of this calendar, you can imagine how big the consciousness is. If this keep increasing, it's going to increase only. It's not going to slide down or anything like that. It will just keep increasing from now until December. So when consciousness increases like this, there are so many consequences. People leaving jobs, people leaving relationships, people ending chapters, people closing down, long time files. Then there's forgiveness, there's close, all this is happening at the same time. So we have a lot of process happening. We are having a lot of processes. And if our processor is not fast enough, you might slow down or you might even jam. That's why you have ascension symptoms: headache, nausea, itch, sleeplessness, lucid dreaming, energetic movement around the body. These are all ascension symptoms. There are many more if you Google. So now this is happening. These processes and information is coming in, and right now is being delivered. So yes, in Facebook there's so many. Yeah, every day when I see any latest updates, these are all latest writings. You look at the dates; they are all yesterday or day before yesterday. They are not like plucked from somewhere from another book or something. These are downloaded immediately now on this date. They receive the information and they sent it out. And these are after a lot of layers of approval. They don't simply release like that and put their name there, Asta command, without having a proof. These are very disciplined, highly organized bodies. So they are very particular that the message is clear. Yeah, so they won't use their badge and uniform unless it's important. So if you look at this entire unfoldment, this is lots of rays coming down, lots of energies coming down on us. So we just need to identify and progress with this. Okay, how did I come here? Okay, any questions or comments? I'm talking about past life regression actually, so just before I proceed further, are there any questions? Yes, Sairam.
Saram. So I just joined a bit late, and do you, if I understood well, do you actually do these sessions, the past life regression?
Yes, actually, that's my job.
Mhm. Yeah,
I
didn't
mean,
realize that. Mhm.
yes, yes. I was having a healing center, and I used to do my sessions there, and also sometimes I conduct trainings for hypnotherapy. So we have invited trainers also to come and take conduct the courses. So we do quite a bit of this.
But this is not possible remotely, right? You need to be present with, I mean, with
Well,
your client.
I've done remotely before lately because of COVID, and I
Mhm.
think it's still possible because it's good result.
Mhm.
So yes, I actually I do it,
Now,
and this
after
is very
this, after this, question of mine, I think that you should receive a couple of requests.
I see. Thank you. Yes, it's actually a very. You know what? When this message came to me to talk about this, right? I already feel that even as the entire monad right now, we can regress. There's a way of doing it. We can go into the depth of the monad, the energy of the monad. If there's anything which is, holding the monad back, let it be expressed and regress and, find the source. And then you will know who you are. This monad is not a new monad, actually. This is a continuation. This monad have been there before. It's just that we didn't know the link. We didn't know the depth of this. So the more deeper you go into it, the more you can see. Actually, we are not new. That's why Swami say Manava, not new. Man which is not new. They have been there for so long with Swami. We have been with him. We have done this. We have every time his play, his drama is there, we are there. So this entire monad can regress. So I'm just looking at the possibilities and enjoying Swami's presence. Well, for me, it's, that's the glory. That's the glory of the Lord, right? Yes. Okay, any more questions or sharings?
Yes, a question, brother. If the monad is a continuum, then can the same group here go into oneness regression to know where we fit in or why we are doing this?
Okay. Yes, there is a way, but actually it's a bit tricky. Yeah. If you want to aim for oneness, right? Okay, the trick is, you see, just like a bow, like Rama holds a bow, right? When you hold the target, you have to pull the string backwards, right? In order to pull the arrow backwards. That pulling backwards is regression. You go back, you pull back, and you get the source. Once you get the source, and if you're targeted at the oneness, you will shoot from there. There's a way of doing it. These are actually it can even be turned into a ritual. There are some tribes who goes into this kind of ritual. Yeah, and they're very accurate when they do that. They really know how to target the spirit, the great spirit, and to become one with the great spirit. These are very old practices which which bore a lot of meaning and significance and energy. Yeah. Okay, thanks for that question. Anyone else? Okay, let's go deeper into past life regression. So what happens when you're enlightened?
We can't hear you. Hello.
Because you no longer
Hear you.
You're breaking.
Sorry, yeah, let me change my position. All right. So it's a lot to do with, when you come back, you will feel different. You feel different, energetically you're different, your outlook will change. And actually, if you go deeper, your DNA will change. Because your configuration has changed, your program has changed. Yeah. And these are very significant because your outlook has changed and your perception has changed of life. So that would create another level of possibilities. Yeah. And things would, take shape. But it really depends on you, whether your habit, sometimes we have a habit of, going back to what we used to do. But of course, when you have such a powerful experience, a lot of times you don't no longer need it. But habit being habit, sometimes it comes. Yeah. So what do you do when the habit comes? You just need to remind yourself that you no longer need this. Yeah. So when you say that, it immediately drops off by itself. So we do a lot of when you have experiences like this, you start seeing the reality of the etheric world, how real it is. Because it's our life. It's not talking about other people's life. We are not talking about, some devas coming, which we, still learning about. But this is different. This is your life. So you're regressing your life. When you're regressing your life, the amount of details that's going to come in is incredible. You might even be surprised that you found out what you didn't find out at that time. Right? You are able to even see how you were when you were in your mother's womb. You can even see that. And you can see what your mom was doing, how your mom was feeling, what was she saying. You can even see that. I had patients which actually go and test the mother after that. Did you do this when I was in your stomach? And the mother freaks out. How did you know? So these are wonderful things which were open for us only with God's will. No way we can do anything without His, because especially this kind of work where the future is changed and the past is changed. So these are just incredible, and I'm sure many of you have read some of those books that has been published. Dolores Cannon is incredible regressionist. Yeah, many souls, many masters. All these are regression books. So they and a lot of past life regressionists somehow they became futurists and book writers. Amazing books they write. Yeah, because they are backed by experience and documentations and many hours of downloads. So the message that comes through a lot of times very incredible. So past life regression. Where does this all of a sudden overflowing and a very strong conviction of oneness and togetherness and proclamation over and over by everybody, where did this come from? All of us, yeah. Did it come from something we just happened right now, or this energy? It just doesn't come out of nowhere. It's a progression. There's a progression happening. There is, the energy have been coming through. Just like the tree of life, just like any plants, it comes from bottom and goes to the top. And, if a strong tree will be huge, right? It's all linked. Everything is linked. Everyone is linked. So if we know who we are, we have discovered who our life mission, why we are here, and as a group, and what's our role, and what's our strengths, what's our weaknesses. This entire group can be regressed. So I'm just seeing this possibility now, and I'm quite intrigued by it. And of course, nothing happens without Swami's will, and especially when you regress a monad. Definitely not in my hands to decide. So I'm just seeing the possibilities, and I'm seeing that, yeah, we have great potential together. Okay. Any other questions or sharing?
Hi, Julius. It's Jan here.
Hi, John.
Hi. I was just trying to remember the year. I think it was 1986. I joined a channeling group. The channeler was a friend, and she was getting some very good stuff coming through. But at that time, I met some friends, my husband and I and this other couple, and we used to do the Christos experiment at that time. I don't know if you've heard of that one. It was a regression process. And how it sort of worked was you extended your legs and your head, made them grow, and then you extended the width of your body. And that's as much as I can remember now. And in that process, you actually received a whole heap of pictures and things. So that was my first experience of past lives all those years ago. And then that same lady that I mentioned, she started doing past life regressions for the group. And she was doing them through acupuncture. So again, I got more awareness of another past life, which was pretty important for me to know. And it gave me a great understanding of this life, really. And then I really didn't sort of have anything going on until, oh, that's right, it was 94 at the ashram. And a hypnotherapist who was from Hawaii, my daughter and husband met him and brought him to our room. And he started doing kinesiology on my leg as I sat on the floor. And he asked me questions. And in my head came answers. And out of my mouth came entirely different answers. So the belief and the knowledge then was that my soul had really been contacted that was delivering those messages. And again, it made sense. It actually sort of, there were sort of things in this life now that was showing me the truth of that. So time went on, and when I lived in my previous house, not here, there was a huge portal on the property. And at that stage, I started to have what I used to call the passing parade. And I would just lay down to have a little rest in the afternoon, and all these people would pass by. And through that, I saw another number of different lives. I actually saw them in quite a lot of detail. So again, that knowledge was really helpful to this life. Yes, so I've had quite a lot of past life experiences or knowledge from them, but still I haven't managed to release probably some really important things that I need to release. Not so much on the forgiveness side, as because I have done a lot of that, and I do believe that I have forgiven where I've needed to forgive, but knowledge that I can release certain things that are holding me back in this life, holding me back really from ascension, holding me back for being exactly who it would be really helpful for me to be if I could let go of certain negative self-thoughts. I suppose that's what it is. Yes, yes. So that's been my experience, and it's been quite a journey. And, you know, people say, and I did all the Dolores Cannon thing. I even went to a workshop that she was running in Perth, which is close to me, a few hundred kilometres away. And at that stage, at the end of her talk, she did a regression. And interestingly, that was another confirmation of another thing that had happened way before. So it's a wonderful journey, but people used to say to me, why is this happening to you? I said, it's knowledge. It's knowledge for me to use in a constructive way for this life. Because many people used to say to me, oh, it's not necessary. You only have to deal with this life. And I wasn't purposely doing it. I wasn't particularly seeking it. It was just occurring. And so I have a lot of gratitude to Swami for really my whole journey, but especially the way it's unfolded in that way. Sorry, that's been exceptionally long that I've spoken, but anyway, there we go. That's my experience on that level.
Mm-hmm. Wow, thank you so much. You have opened up the passage for the monad.
Oh, that's good.
Incredible. Wow, look at that.
Thank you, Julius. Thank you.
Right.
Ram.
Thank you. Hi, Ram. Yes.
Yes, I've had quite a lot of experience of regressions. We used to call them far memories back in, gosh, the 80s. And yeah, I went on quite a lot of them. We were put into a hypnotic type state, but it was mostly relaxation. And I went to quite a few different places. And yes, I've also done one with the Dolores Cannon of somebody who trained with her. And over it, I've seen just so many bits of myself. One of them, which I think I mentioned when we first went to Ashtar, was that fantastic spaceship. And I had, it was somebody else who had said to me, well, what is your favorite time of your lives? And I said, it was on the spaceship. And I remember saying at another point earlier here, I couldn't understand why I would say that. But having seen that fantastic spaceship, I just went, yes, of course. It would have been amazing to be there because we're all one. There's nature, there's space, there's yeah, there's a unity. It was just amazing. But I have seen all sorts of different ones, and in fact, with Saha, when he mentioned what triggered you, it's not exactly a far memory, but he asked me he said to all of us, what triggers you? And I said, what triggers me is being called a saint. And he thought, oh, that's a funny one. And then I thought about it, and in fact, it wasn't in a positive way that I was called a saint. It was more like, you're a bit of a martyr. And 2 people had called me that, and it used to really get my goat. I get really angry. And when I thought about this just in the last few weeks, I realized that the thought had always come to me, would I die for my faith? And I was always, oh my God, I don't know if I would, I don't know if I would. And then the thought came that when I was at a convent, Catholic convent, from a very early age, and we chose a name for our confirmation. And everybody chose Mary and Teresa and, you know, saints in that ilk. And I chose Saint Sebastian. And of course, Saint Sebastian, I thought I just chose him by being a bit of a rebel. He was a nice picture. But then it occurred to me just recently that it wasn't. He was actually martyred twice. He was shot with arrows, and then he was rescued by a woman who took him home and healed him and hid him. And then he went up to the same emperor and said, repent your sins. And the emperor obviously was amazed that he was still alive and immediately had him flogged to death. So that is my name. So I just went, oh my God, all these things are joining up. And I think that's what happens with regression, is these little parts of yourself all start joining up and you go, ah, now I understand. So yeah, it is an amazing therapy. I'm always very happy to do more, just to join all those dots up. Okay, so thank you. So
thank you for sharing that. It's incredible, huh, to see the puzzles all coming together. Yeah, and you can actually, you know, after a while, again, the chicken and egg situation, you know, you don't know whether you did the regression first or the light has come first. Because why? When we go regression, the light, we need to invoke the light within. That's the one I practice, where, you know, I make sure that the light is fully illuminated. That means your light body is fully illuminated, and we travel backwards with the light body.
you can also travel forwards though, can't you? I've done several with somebody called Chet Snow and Helen Wambach years and years ago, and we went forwards. A couple of times I've been forwards, and that's pretty amazing too.
And travel backward. And now, why do I say that? Which one comes first after a while? Is it the light that came, or is it the regression, or is it the impressions that came? Because there will come a time where it all start illuminating. You start seeing like a movie, the whole thing. And after a while, okay, let's say you all of a sudden knock yourself, and you know, there's pain on your hands. And because your files are all open, right? And all of a sudden you realize that why you knocked your hand, and you know, this one was a long time ago, and I knocked it before, and you know, this thing happened and that happened. You regress yourself. because the files are open and you already know the technique in a way. You know how it works to release yourself of any unpleasant feelings that is recurring. So you start seeing, the puzzle coming together, and you would actually see that everything is integrated. Your past birth, why it comes to this point, and when you come to this point with your light coming through, that's what I meant. When the solar flash come through, all of a sudden you can see your past. It's just like that, because the light is coming through. And with that light is a very refined light, very subtle light. It's not a physical gross frequency light. This is like a gamma waves kind of light. So it will penetrate into the subconscious and illuminate the subconscious. So when the subconscious illuminated, you can see the story, how it came about. Yeah. So these are all part of the goodies that's coming, and we can actually make use of it to set ourselves free, no longer be bounded by the past, influenced by the past. And as a light body, you can progress as a light body first. The progression of the light body is incredible, because as the light body progress, your physical energetics and attunement also progress, because the physical is pegged to the light body. So if you are consciously progressing like that, you can really see energy coming through, and speed and rhythm and synchronicity all falls in together. Great, thanks for the sharing. Anyone else? Okay, now, once you are kind of familiar with the flow of life and energies, right, you become familiar with others' flow of life and energy too. You can even, a very good example of it is the dragons. The dragons, if you look at them, you can actually see where they come from and what they have gone through, and how they've evolved to this place. That is part of regression. When you're used to it, so you regress for them. And of course, when you regress for them, they also become conscious of their past, and they always appreciate it. They always appreciate anyone knowing where they came from, and to respect that and to appreciate that. They are very sensitive. When you do that, they'll be so close to you. They really, appreciate. It's almost like you were there with them in their life, along the journey as you unfold, because consciousness is something they really treasure. They love consciousness. They don't like to be unconscious. When it's unconscious and a blur, right, they fall in energy, and this is what they don't like. Energetically low. They like to fly high. So energetically, they need to be high also. So the higher you go, the more conscious you become. And so, someone who knows where they come from, they totally appreciate it. Okay, so and it applies for all other matters, actually. Even the earth can be regressed. What it has gone through, and how it has come to this stage, and what are the strengths and the weaknesses. And ironically, a lot of times, if you regress something which we have been with all our lives, namely the earth. You know, we kind of grow up together, right? And we are one with the earth. We live with the earth, right? And if you regress the earth, guess what you find? You would find yourself with the earth long time ago, how it is, what it went through, the earth went through, and you went through together, and your relationship with the earth, and you know, and 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 the struggles or love or relate, you know, this entire thing would unfold for you. So it's a matter of traveling with light, yeah, your light body. These are all potentials of your light body. You can do this as a light body. It's beautiful, isn't it? You find out so many things about yourself which you're not aware of right now. You know, it's there, but it's just not illuminated. It's not shined upon. The consciousness was not there. You know, so it's left unconscious. And if you keep saying things like I am consciousness, and you keep living it, of course, everything will start illuminating, including your light body and your past and all in your future. So after a while, you can even go further until it reaches timelessness. You know, there are people who immediately gone into this meditative state, and they found themselves sitting in meditation and becoming one. That's not the ordinary oneness. It is real, intense and omnipresence kind of oneness. So these are all your possibilities. Mm-hmm. Now, past life regression. So these therapies are available, and guess what? Even in YouTube, you can find. If you were to type past life regression in YouTube, there are some walkthroughs, you know, where it's guided you to how you can go inside yourself. And of course, those are more general. It's not, I don't know if you can go deep into detail. Sometimes, you know, you might want to detour a bit from the meditation, but make sure you join back fast and, you know, follow through the end, because the ending is important. You don't want to, some part of you left somewhere, and, you know, you're not complete in coming back. So they have a way of ending that, you know, all come back together. And of course, the word integration is always there, to integrate all bodies now and to come back to this space now. And, you know, so all your multidimensional beings, bodies, and subtle bodies will all come back to your physical body. And when that happens, you feel complete, you know. And okay, past life regression, some people also for example, you know, you all of a sudden you see yourself a very good tennis player. We would ask you, would you like to bring back that ability? Or even languages. Yeah? Some of them have brought over languages. Previous birth, they can speak that, and now they have no idea what it is. And all of a sudden, they know what it is. Yeah, so these are all in your files. It's a matter of, you know, creating a bridge so that the energy and the ability comes forth. Okay, what else do we have for past life regression? You know, people, I mean, Brother Saha has conducted this this childhood healing the inner child, right? This past life regression does that also, because the inner child, actually most of the time it goes to the inner child. A lot of issues that's recurring, those strong ones has got to do with younger time, some some emotions which are too difficult to let go at that time, you know, too strong for a kid. Somehow, you know, you get stuck. So we help them to face these energies and to release it. Yeah? And we can also even help release for others. There's a way of doing it, but this is a bit more complicated. Surrogate, yeah? You actually surrogate for another person and help that person release it. Yeah? But of course, with a willing party, someone who allows that to happen. But that's a bit trickier, it's a bit complicated. All right, any questions or sharing?
Aaron, brother.
Hi, Ram.
Aaron, do you remember, or not remember, this various incidents in our life, it is said that some of our soul particles disappear?
Not some of our soul, some of our soul leaves.
Soul leaves or particles or whatever. They disappear, and then there's a technique or there's like a healing to bring those soul particles or leaves back to us and make us whole again. Is that something that can be, is that related to regression? I mean, do part of our soul particles disappear because of past life incidents as well? Or is it only the current life traumas and incidents which make some of our soul disappear? What does it mean that soul particles disappear? How can a soul not be real? And they be full also? Sorry, several questions there.
Sure, it's a good question. Huh? Okay, now it's the soul. All right, we got so many souls. We got the oversoul, we got Jiva Atma is the individual soul, Paramatma is the cosmic soul. Then you have the monad soul, you have the soul of the country, you have the soul of the earth. Now, of course, at the end of the day, all came from one soul, yeah. But at this, we are in a process right now because this soul, the soul is actually a spirit which has a lot of energy, which has a lot of shakti, yeah? And it's so compiled together that, you know, it's like a light, it's like a light body. Yeah? So and this light body has links to another 12 light bodies. And then it links to 144. And then it links to 144,000. There's like a great, when a soul leaves a body, it's not really a completely leaving, your entire soul leaving, you know, it's very not so common actually, yeah, for the entire soul to leave, because usually those are very significant moments, and it's only moments which are willed by God, you know, everything is documented by, you know, I forgot what their name is, but you know, they just write down everything. So these have to be approved. So this regression actually is not the soul leaving, it's actually a subtle body, and it's a astral body also. So it's mainly directing the astral body and subtle body. But the soul is, and the body, you are totally conscious actually. You're not so unconscious. You know, if you're lying there and I'm doing regression on you, you can even hear the phone ring, or you know, someone talking, you're still conscious. So yeah.
Father, which soul's particles leave the body, or not leave the body, that's the wrong language. Which soul's particles leave the soul, which I don't know which soul, because of traumas or traumatic events which happened in your life. And a healing session brings those soul particles back to you to make you whole again.
Well, actually, we will be looking more on the subconscious mind because we are entering in the intention to solve certain
Sorry, you're breaking up.
Sairam, Julius, are you speaking? There's complete silence right now.
Oh, good. It's not just me.
Oh, not just you. He says this to Sanjay with a hand up. Would you like to speak? But wait, Julius, are you here? I mean, you're here, but we can't hear you.
Which soul? Yeah.
Dr. Sandhya. Oh, Sandhya. No.
Sairam, I was, this was in response to Brother Vikash, I think, and I think Brother Saha is also on the talk. I know I'm not a psychoanalyst or a regressionist, but I think what you're talking about is soul retrieval, where, after an episode of trauma, it
Yes,
should be
yes.
in this,
Yeah, I
and
think that's
Brother
what it's
Chulan
called.
too, you will be able to tell me whether I'm expressing this incorrectly, but I think what you're trying to ask is soul retrieval, where, when someone experiences a traumatic event, there is a part of us, and that's the energetic part of us, that is left behind during that episode, and that's a part of a protective phenomenon where the soul doesn't want to get hurt. And I think with that process, because when someone's part of the soul is left behind, and that's the energetic part of the soul, and it's the vital energy part of the soul, we have certain conditions that appear, such as PTSD, generalized anxiety, and some people may be constantly in depression. They can have suicidal ideations too. So I think a session with soul retrieval where they get back to that episode and then bring back the soul, part of that soul, and integrate with you is very, very helpful. So now you can, I think, Brother Saha, Brother Chulan, you can comment and say if this is what we're talking about.
Thank you, sister. You put that so much better than me.
Yeah, it was soul retrieval.
It was soul retrieval. I couldn't think of the word.
We just couldn't think of the word.
I couldn't think of what it was called.
Wow, Sister Sandhya, you have so much information on this, yeah? You can please share more on this.
I was just saying, you need Brother Julius to talk about this because I've heard about soul fracturing and things like that, but I don't know much about it really. Julius, please tell us more.
Yeah, please tell us more. I mean, because I've had a soul retrieval session done before. It was under a what you called a shamanic healing session, and it felt really good.
It was awesome. It was really, really good. You could actually feel your souls coming together.
Yeah, you could feel, it felt really good at the time. So I was just wanting to understand a bit more about that, and if that's related to the past life regressions, and whether those soul retrieval particles or fragments are from only this life, or they're also from past lives.
We didn't get to ask the lady who done it.
Yeah, we didn't get much time to ask all of those questions. In fact, we didn't even think of those. I didn't think of those questions at the time.
Yeah, we only started thinking of these questions now that we've joined this group.
Wow, incredible. I didn't know about that. I didn't know there's such a ritual where they bring this soul particles together.
Yeah,
right?
there's a lady, she's also a Sai devotee. Her name is Ruth Harris. She's based in America.
Yeah, I have worked with Ruth. She's very good. I've worked with her.
Awesome. She's so good. Yeah.
Yes, she's very good.
So yeah, So
I think
she's
this is someone Connie Shaw works with as well, Brother Julius.
Really?
Connie Shaw does reading. I don't know if she does
No,
retrievals or something.
one of the people she works with does this thing with healing fractured souls, etc. To my knowledge.
Well,
Okay,
it must be Ruth. It must be Ruth because
maybe
Ruth
it's Ruth.
Ruth done some healing in Whitefield as well.
The name Ruth.
Yeah,
She does it online. She does it online.
Okay.
I know that, and if you go through her website, she does it online. You don't have to be physically present, and she
Yeah.
is able to heal you.
Yeah, she's really
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Very awesome.
Wow, look at that, huh? And how did all these, practices, incredible practices, which used to be shamanic, and you need to go into the jungle to look for them, all of a sudden available online. And in a very, very clear, conversive guidelines and, introduction and these are all part of our ascension process, really, because there will be more and more of this coming in. Okay, and we have also someone is going to be presenting to us about tarot cards soon. Yeah, it's already in line, and tarot cards are really amazing because they are connecting to the angelic realm, and the angels are very detailed. They can go into great details of illuminating your life. So these are all space which are opening up for us now.
We've lost you again.
Okay, sorry.
Hey,
Yes,
Saha
Brother
has
Saha,
raised his hand. Yes, Saha,
please come in.
What a fascinating topic. It's so dear to me, and I love hearing all the perspectives we share and the tools we got. And I just want to share something with those participants here who are thinking of doing any kind of past life regressions. Um, my advice over the time I practice this with clients is that your soul knows exactly when it is right for you. So don't just say, I'm going to do this on the 25th because that's the day I have free. Or I will do this somehow in this next 2 weeks because if not, I don't think I'll find a chance. Don't rush it. Don't force it. Because there's a moment where it will align perfectly for you and it'll be just simply magical. Your therapist would be having a free day and things will align for you. So don't force it. Number two, do not go into a session out of desperation. Like I've had people, especially when they're in crossroads with relationships, they somehow want to do a regression. And it's not really because they're open to what their oversoul will tell them, but more like trying to validate that something that they think is right for them. So when you go with that frame of mind, you're not allowing yourself to go within because you're going to operate at a lower level of hypnosis where your rational mind will start giving inputs, and it'll be you already coming in there to find an answer that you think is correct. So in desperation, don't go for a session. And the other thing I want to share with you is if you are thinking of doing a regression hypnosis session, it's really wonderful if every night before you go to bed, to actually record your own voice, if not your therapist's voice, telling how you're going to allow yourself to go to the deepest levels of trance. And when you do this, there's this couple of others over the years I could share with if anybody wanna hear that, but that's done for QHHT because I use the term QHHT, but it works for all methods. And so if you just take that out and you do your affirmations every night for about 2 weeks, sometimes even a month, it helps to put that rational mind out of the picture for your upcoming session. And a lot of people find it easier to do it that way, because you're now telling your subconscious mind that that you're gonna connect with your subconscious. So it works wonderfully well. So these are the things that I want to share if anyone's doing it. And also, it's not that somebody else is actually, you know, hypnotizing you. As practitioners, we are only showing you, we are just guiding you. You're going to report from whatever you see. It's kind of like we are like at the control tower, but you're the one who's seeing what you see out of the window. So so we are actually guiding you for yourself to go in there, and based on what you report back to us, we help you with questions to find the answers to your questions. So in a great hypnosis session is actually you yourself allowing yourself to go there. So that's why the affirmations are important, because you decide how deep you want to go. And so when that's in sync as a therapist, we could better guide you to help you go to more subtle levels in your hypnosis. So it's all in your hands, and it's always coming with the knowledge and power of your subconscious mind, which has the best interest for your soul. So that's what I wanna share with you all. Bless you all.
Zaha, could you please say again this affirmation? It was too fast.
No, this affirmation I cannot. It's just I mean, it's something I've developed for QHHD. I can share that on the Ascension group, but something similar. I did not share the whole affirmation. It's a series of 6 phrases that I've come across, and I've made it actually in such a way to help people. So I'll share that, but it's the word QHHD is there, so it might not work for people with the rational mind thinking, well, I'm not doing a QHHD. But if you change the word just to regression, it works just fine. But I know I haven't shared that here. I just told you that the affirmations are important, even if you make up your own, telling how you're looking forward to it, how you will allow yourself to go to the deepest level of trance, how you are grateful for having the session, and how you love yourself. These are all important, especially if you have a very active, rational left brain that can come and intervene. So it's a good way to silence the left brain.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks so much, Saha. I needed that. But cut my cheese. Otherwise, we will take a lot of time before we reach there.
Sister Sandhya has a hand up, Brother Julius.
Yes, Sister Sandhya.
Yeah, I just wanted to share that I agree with what Brother Saha said. And I've also found that no offense meant to other people outside of the Sai group, but it's my bias that I try to go to people within the Sai group. Somehow I know that Swami is working through them, so it is my bias, and I apologize. Well, maybe I don't want to apologize. I'm not going to apologize for what I do. But so I have found that even if we go with a certain question, I agree with you. Sometimes we go when we are at the crossroads and we want affirmations or answers, but Swami works in different ways. And personally, it happened to me itself. I had a certain question, but Ruth said she didn't ask me. She doesn't ask you for any question. She doesn't ask you anything about yourself other than your name, and she just wants you to relax. And 2 things happened that day, and this is something I wanted to share. She uses music, and she played a music. It's a certain Native American shamanic music that she uses, or shamanic music that she uses. And that day, what happened was there was a Shiva Stotra that came up. And she was so surprised that it came up automatically. And she said, Sandhya, I'm so sorry that this is not the music I use. I said, just let it be. Somehow, you know, the universe knew, and your work, and Swami is working through you. He started this music. He knows how much Shiva means to me in my life. Let it be. And then she went through the process. She actually answered a question which was so different from what I had intended to ask in my own mind. So what happens is we may go up with a certain question, but like Brother Saha said, we will get the answers to what our soul needs. We know, you know, the soul knows better than us. It has wisdom of many births than what our own logical mind or left brain or right brain, whatever brain we use, knows. So this is something I wanted to share. You will find answers to what your soul needs. You may not find answers to what your mind wants at that time. And then also that this retrieval goes beyond this current birth. It goes to many births behind in the past. So this is my sharing of the process. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that so wonderfully. Yes, the presence. All of us have it. All of us came from this presence. And in this presence, there's no other. This is a beautiful meditation. In this emptiness, in this oneness, the secondary or the separation is no longer needed. It's not necessary because you have already reached one. So this meditation itself is the I am. I think from now on, there'll be more and more meditation. Because we are all entering into a meditation together. And this is very graceful because this is from God. When energy comes from God, it has this kind of grace that brings us into this meditative space together. Now, at this space. This is what we need to do. This is meditation. This is group meditation. And if we are able to enjoy meditation like this, isn't it beautiful? We can just talk about the glories of the Lord. Be in this space. Be one in this space. This is meditation. Let's be very comfortable in this space. This is oneness. And this is land. This is the space which we talked about the last session. about the land where there's oneness. And we went up a hill, and we are sitting on top of the hill watching the entire shores around the island. That island is oneness. So when we enter into that island, we become one. This is the space. Be one in breath. This is expansion of consciousness. Be aware. It's incredible. This is oneness, and this is the one that holds. This is the one that holds a frequency. And this is global meditation happening. So plug in. This is the space. So if we know it, then you are with it. This is the space where even past life regression is to reach. Because that oneness, if we are able to experience towards the end, and it comes to you, you know, it just happens, that oneness. So that's the ultimate aim of past life regression. But of course, not many get the one towards the end, because towards the end is very complicated, because it doesn't make sense anymore. There's no sense there. So it's not like, you know, I got to know what he's talking about step by step, and it get burned. So once you get burned, there's no more. This is the power of consciousness. It burns. Burns what? Challenges, Maya, obstacles. It clears the road. So be it and see it. If you can see it, it's very, very good, because you are able to learn from it. Yeah, if you can see it, you can actually, there's so many details you can get, books and books, just looking at it. Because that's the download which many people get, is the energetics from there. It came through and is manifested in the form of light and is shot at the topic. So the light come through the topic. So when you see the entire book, is the manifestation of the entire topic. That's how the rays comes. And these rays are really incredible. They're illuminating so many layers. It's like penetrating through darkness. So it's a very sharp rays, and it goes right through. So this light is radiating now. Some feel it, some connect to it in meditation, quiet. Some people hear it, some people feel it, some people verbalize it. I guess that's my role. And it's nice, I think, to be able to know that this verbalization is happening as per monad. This is the energy of the monad, and this is our flight. We are speaking and rising. The energy is rising. After a while, this language is going to change. It would sound alien to some people because we are nearing to the galactic center. And there the languages all changes. It becomes smoother. Somehow you're able to identify clearer. Every word you say has a power. It's incredible. So any questions? I think we have kind of went different place, huh? Anyone? Okay, just perfect timing. Now to pass to Adi Parar. Thank you so much for attending. Sairam.
Saram Julius, thank you very much for that amazing session.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you,
Session.
Thank you,
Sairam.
Sairam.
Thank you,
Sairam.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sairam. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you.
Sairam.
Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam.
Sister Samudra, I pass the host over to you. Is that correct?
Not to me, Brother Vikash, to Sister Gayani.
To Sister Gayani. Okay. Passing
Yeah,
it to
take
you
it,
now.
Eileen. Sorry. We
Sairam.
just did a bit of a change in the system.
No
Just
problem
for
at all.
Just to confuse you.